that Doug Wardenberg? Okay, you'd like to speak? Okay, please come up, identify yourself and your address, please, and then feel free to talk.
Okay. My name's Doug Wardenberg. I live at 2230 Canterbury Drive. And the reason I'm coming before is because of issues that we have had seen with the retention pond and the work that we've had for a couple of years now. First of all, the concrete that was done in terms of building the front of it is all disintegrating. The concrete next to it that's been there for 30 some years is far better shape. But a bigger issue is the area behind our house. Jim, I think you posted pictures on Facebook. Those are
I think it was in your backyard this morning.
That was immediately behind my house. When the work was done, we were told that we didn't need to worry about cutting the grass or the weeds or whatever behind our house anymore. That would be maintained. I've not seen it cut at all this year. It's very tall as a result. And because the water is being retained, mosquitoes are a big issue. People at the top of our development were complaining about that a few weeks ago. And so I just wanted to bring the issues before you, just to try to see if we could get somebody to look at it, to figure out if there's something wrong, if it's not working properly. It was less of an issue before they fixed it, at least from my perspective. I'm not an engineer, I'm an accountant, but it seemed to work better from my perspective anyway before. The water drained more quickly. Not that it didn't have issues. A number of years ago, it almost flooded our house because it got so backed up. But now it seems to hold water all the time, and which again causes mosquitoes. We don't sit in the back of our house at all in the evenings, or because you just can't. So, and I know some of my neighbors here too. Obviously, they have the same issues. That's the reason why they're all here. So, yes.
I'd be interested. How widespread is the issue? You're at 2230, but what are some of the other addresses? Does it on that illustration are?
So, see, 2230. So there's 2228. So where the arrow goes in, that's the part area right behind my house.
Right.
I don't know for the people that circle. I don't know that the extent that they might have the issues as well.
But like coming down from your house, is 2230 next door to you?
Yes, she's on the left.
You're on the left side, okay.
Yep. And then Michelle on the other side, 2228.
Oh, on the right.
So, yeah. So obviously it affects our areas. I don't know if you went further down Canterbury towards the park, how far up before it stops being as much of an issue. But I would venture to guess that in terms of the issues that it causes the mosquitoes, since people at the top of the development were the ones that first of all said, hey, we need to go and have some discussions about this. If they were complaining and they're not the ones with it right in their backyard, I would venture to guess it affects the whole neighborhood.
So when you say the top, you mean north, towards the park?
Towards Gettysburg Pike. So when I say the top, if you go up the hill there where Canterbury goes up and eventually meets
going up
Mill
towards
Road,
Fisher.
Then not to Fisher, but to Gettysburg, Old Gettysburg.
Okay.
But yeah.
So Jason or Garrett, you want to talk about what we talked about at stormwater improvement?
Yeah, we could talk about it a little bit. So your three houses in particular are right at the point at which the water is flowing from the northern basin into the new basin that we built. So obviously, as the water is draining, that is going to be the last part that drains. Given those houses north of you, it'll continue to drain. You'll be the last one. So obviously, you're going to see water there longer than the others. Right. Right, I understand. I know that location does have trouble draining. We've have seen it have issues over time, but
2 hours.
right. So I inspect these basins once per quarter. And every time I've gone out there to do my inspections, I do them during dry weather. So I don't usually try to make it a point to do it after a rainstorm or something like that. But during my inspections, I have not seen standing water there when I do them. But again, I'm more than happy to go out there after one of the more recent rain events that we have to see how long it takes it to actually drain. Usually 72 hours is the standard amount of time to get it to drain. I know that point, right, where it goes from the one basin into the next one, it does have issues that could take longer than 72 hours. So if there's something we can do to correct that, you know, I can definitely look at that and see if it's a possibility. Now for the mowing as well, we're actually looking at Chad, our parks director. We discussed it today even to talk to another contractor to get that one mowed separately because the current contractor we have, he's just not doing it as often as we want him to do it. So, right, this year he's had a number of issues. I understand, yeah. We've gotten calls from other people as well. So we are looking to get potentially a different contractor to mow that specifically, yeah.
Ma'am, can you, excuse me, can you come up to the microphone, please, and identify yourself? We record this. We want to make sure we know who's saying what.
I'm at 2232.
Okay, and then
Can I
talking to the mic,
speak?
talking to the microphone so it makes the
This
recording.
gentleman on July of 2024, and he told me we were now on a 2-week schedule because I'd been going in for several years complaining. But I always do it in person because I feel like eye-to-eye contact is better.
Mhm.
First, I was told it was the contractors, still under contract, and the township legally couldn't touch it. It was the contractor's job to mow it, but the contractors weren't mowing it.
Mhm.
So then finally, once it got off that contract, then I was told last summer that we were now on a 2-week mowing schedule. The only time it ever got mowed, and literally this is my backyard, so I can see who's there. It got mowed 2 weeks after I complained, and then it didn't get mowed again until the end of the season. And that was all we saw all year.
Mhm.
And we haven't seen anybody out there this year. at all.
Yeah, I walked it today and it's obvious it hasn't been mowed in quite some time. And
The overflow drain is completely covered with weeds. I
Correct.
took more pictures that I
Right.
gave them.
well, I gave him pictures. I was out there, like I said this
When
morning.
I took pictures
And
on the
it's
23rd.
extremely difficult to walk around because
It is.
some of the older growth is folded over. And so when you go to take a step, you don't know if you're going, how far above the ground that actually is.
Well,
And
there's a lot of kids that used to play out there, but no one's playing out there anymore because the mosquitoes gotten so bad. I've literally been paying for mosquitoes to have my yard sprayed for mosquitoes for the last 3 years because
Mhm.
it's been a problem. And it's not getting any better. And we use the same company. Because it's the only way we could control the mosquito issue for us, but that doesn't mean it's controlled for anybody else. And I know this year people have started complaining about there's a bad smell that's coming out from the continuous wet moisture of the weeds and stuff. It's been putting out some kind of smell. I don't smell it, but then I don't have my windows open in the back.
Mhm.
So I don't know
Yeah,
what.
I did notice
exactly
an odor
causes
today.
that.
That doesn't mean there's an odor.
No,
I didn't notice one today.
Yesterday when I was out taking more pictures, but it seems to be more of an evening thing, but it is keeping people from being able to sit out besides the insect issue.
So
I'm concerned, especially this year when there's been a larger infestation of mosquito issues. This is even more concerning.
So what we discovered at Stormwater Improvement Meeting, which was yesterday morning, is we don't really have a policy on stormwater basins because every basin's a little different. There are some basins we don't mow at all. There are some basins that have water loving plants planted in them. We don't want to mow them because when the water comes, they're there to help soak it up. There are others that we maybe mow around the edges, and there are some that we mow flat. When I looked at the basin behind your house, I looked far north going towards Fisher, it turns into grass, and I've been told that's
Mowed by
the neighbors up there mowing
Yeah.
And
that.
originally ours was grass before they
Yeah.
did the work, so.
Right.
Where they
well,
did the work, it was grass, and we
I
were
think-
told at the meeting that we had, when the plans were given to us before they started the work, the woman who was in charge of the department at the time came and had a meeting with Doug and I.
Jen, Probably.
Went over all, it was, no, it was a female at the time.
Yeah, Jen
Oh, okay.
Boyer.
And we were told, one, for the previous 20 years, the neighbors were all mowing back there, even though it wasn't our property.
Mhm.
I was even paying my landscape people extra to mow back there, to keep it cut. So we were promised that the township was going to keep this mowed and contained, so it didn't become an issue. That has not been kept. And we were also told that there would be natural plantings put in and that it would look just like the one at Meadowview. It's never looked like the one at Meadowview.
Mhm.
So I just feel like we were told, given certain promises that weren't kept.
Okay. Jason, did we use amended soils there and the plantings?
So our,
Jason,
You
Jason's our,
can't do anything.
Jason's our engineer.
Our primary focus was construction of the larger flood control facility downstream of the existing basin. When we did our first assessment of the existing stormwater basin, we found that it basically had zero control capabilities. It was a large, I think, 32, 36-inch opening. So the water basically just ran in and ran back out. So as part of our efforts to secure credits with DEP, we turned this into a dry extended detention basin and modified the outfall structure to force that basin to actually function like it was originally intended to. The area down in that bottom section has always been wet since I've been with the township. I really think it's a spring. Less of a stormwater issue, more of a spring, because our survey clearly delineated wetlands that existed in that lower section. I have photographs from when we originally looked at the basin. There's cattails growing and other wetland-related species of plants in that area. We did install an underdrain. We don't have a lot of amended soils. There's a section that's about 7 to 8 foot wide with amended soils and a perforated pipe that we extended from the new outfall structure up into that wet area in an attempt to try to improve the drainage. When it was first built, I believe it was functioning fairly well. They were able to get in there. It did dry out. It was wet still, but it would dry throughout the summer. It does appear that that's holding additional water
It didn't have a
here
plan.
recently.
The difference back then is it didn't have all the overgrowth that was keeping the sun from being able to.
Yeah, we definitely have a problem with the contract we've hired to mow that. And we became aware of that this week. And that our Park and Recs people don't do the mowing, but they contract, and they're out looking now for a different contractor because he had one piece of equipment, what they call a brush hog, that they use to knock down big plants, and it broke, and he just said he couldn't do it without the brush hog. Then he got COVID and was down sick, and no one else came in to do it. So we're looking for a new contractor to go in. First thing we need to do is knock the bushes down and see what we've got in there. Because it's almost impossible to tell what's going on with the growth that you've got in there right now. And we know that, and we're trying to get that done as soon as we can.
I do have a question real quick. The back area behind, because y'all spent hundreds of thousands of dollars doing this project. And y'all brought in bulldozer and cleared all that out. But now it's never been cut back there. Was that the plan all along? Because that wasn't our understanding, but.
The
I
back
just
wall
wanted
furthest to the west,
Side of the runoff, the
that
runoff
backs on the farm.
between
The
the
farm.
runoff area and the farm.
Yeah.
There's a whole area that's never been cut.
Yeah, I don't think there was ever an intention to mow that. There's no real reason to mow that.
Okay, I
That's,
didn't
that's just,
know
that's
what
just,
you told about
that's my guess. That's just wild growth back there.
2 times they cut last year, they only cut one strip along the edge of the ponds.
We have a problem with a
They never
contractor.
cut any of it.
So we're aware of that. We're going to try and get that fixed right away. And then we'll go back in and see. I'm not sure you understood what Jason said. What he said was, when you liked it, that was great, but it wasn't working. It wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. The water would come in and run through and flood your neighbors downstream. So what we had to do was slow up the water. The purpose of a retention pond is to have the water stop there and not flow through in mass volume, go out slower and try and save people downstream. That retention pond takes in all the drainage from up in
Clear up the-
Meadowview.
Yeah, clear up to the school.
clear up to the
Yeah,
school.
the Meadowview development, the Olive Fisher Park, as far as north as the school, there's a tributary system
So
that comes into
when the
that.
Meadowview Pond overflows, it releases and it comes down, then it comes into your drainage and goes on down. So
Rare to see the overflow area with water in it.
Yeah.
It's rare.
Yeah,
It's just,
is it
I'm
supposed
sorry,
to be in
would you please identify yourself with your name and address?
Michelle Laird, I'm 2228
Okay.
Canterbury.
So it's recorded. We need to know whose voices belong to who. Thank
Okay.
you.
So is it supposed to be the area that you dug that is supposed to stay wet, or is it supposed to be the area behind our houses? Which one?
Well, none of the areas were intended to stay wet. To be honest,
So you agree that this is not what was intended?
we did a under drain system with amended soils to try to improve drainage in that upper basin, the original basin. That was working for a period of time. If there's water standing for more than 72 hours, that system is probably not working to its full capacity.
And that's right above the head wall.
Correct. And the upper, above the outlet structure that we put in, one of our challenges is very flat in there. We had very limited elevation grade to work with, so we extended it under drain as far as we could and to make that work. It's certainly something that we could evaluate further to tie into that system potentially and expand the reach, if you will, of our coverage in the bottom of the basin to further enhance our ability to pick that standing water up.
So
Understand what was.
Talking to the mic, please.
Sorry, I'm just trying to understand what was supposed to happen. So you dug the big hole and that's what made our problem worse. So is it supposed to drain from the small one to the big one or
straight
vice
from
versa?
north to south. Okay, so, and the wall and the outfall structure up there is to slow it down up above. It gets to a certain height, then it comes down and keeps going down.
Okay,
But
so
there's,
that,
the under drains keep that, then should keep that dried out over a period of time. But it was much drier before because it wasn't doing what it was supposed to do and people below you were getting flooded. So we've slowed the water down, which is what it's supposed to do, but it doesn't feel like it's working the way it was designed to work. As I said, I couldn't tell. The one place I stepped, my boot got wet, but I couldn't see what was down there because the growth was just too thick. I couldn't figure out. I didn't hear running water and I didn't see big pools of standing water, but admittedly, I didn't go the whole way out. I thought I get out there and fall, nobody will ever find me. We're aware of it. We're going to try and get it in shape. I want to say, I don't think we'll ever mow that every 2 weeks. I don't think that's going to be a goal. Most of our basins, we don't mow completely every 2 weeks. I would think in the growing season, once a month would probably be what you'd get, but you won't have that high a growth in a month.
happy with once a month.
And we need to make that regular. It can't be if the guy's machinery breaks, he doesn't do it and goes about and does the rest of the cycle and then comes back next month. That doesn't work. So we acknowledge that and we're sorry that happened.
I just don't want to have to keep coming and complaining every year. And this is the third year in a row that I've had to come and complain about this.
Okay, I apologize that you had to do that. And like I said, we're aware of it now. We're going to go in and take a look at what we can do. First thing we got to do is get that brush cut down and see what's in there. We can't do anything till we get through that. Okay, thank you for coming in and stay tuned. Anyone else to speak on a topic on the stormwater agenda? Okay. Move on to the consent agenda. It includes the minutes of July 16th, consideration and approval of bills in the amount of $23,498.10, and consideration and approval of 3 staff reports, the township manager's report, the solicitor's report, and the engineer's report. Is there anything in there that anyone wants taken out? If not, I'll take a motion to
Mr.
approve.
Chairman, I move we approve the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Unless I hear a negative vote, I'll instruct the secretary to record the roll call as unanimous. That would be unanimous. Under new business, we need to appoint a stormwater appeals hearing officer. We had listed that as utility, and that scared some people. So this is when people want to appeal their stormwater assessment, who they come into. Who's going to speak to that? Jen?
Yes, so currently we have myself as the hearing officer and Garrett Vanderbrake as the assistant officer. So with my departure, I'd like to recommend that Garrett be the first hearing officer. He is the one who first reviews the appeals and goes through that administrative process. So he's well versed in how to handle that policy and the procedure. So I would recommend him be the hearing officer.
Okay. Do we have a motion to the effect?
That sounds like a plan to me. So I would move that we appoint Garrett as the Stormwater Appeal Hearing Officer, effective tonight. Why not?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Unless I hear a negative vote, I'll instruct the secretary to record the roll call as unanimous. That's unanimous also. Under old business, can we get an update on Cedar Run, please?
We have an active contract with a local contractor who is performing various improvements throughout the township, including roads, sanitary sewer, and stormwater. The contractor has been focused on sanitary sewer work within the Webercroft development. That work we're hoping is concluded within the next week to 2 weeks, at which time they intend to begin installation of the large or main collection system that will extend from Hemlock Drive up through to Oakwood. The contractor is on site this week, actually installing some of the miscellaneous or auxiliary pipe extensions within that development. So that work has been initiated.
Okay, and the contractors had issues with stone, with rock?
With the sanitary sewer project, yes, they're working within existing trench lines. However, in order to pull their trench box for safety precautions, they are encountering large rock formations that is slowing production, and that's forcing the overall project to be held up.
So relatively speaking, how far behind is the project right now?
Oh, we wanted to, it's probably 3 weeks. Yeah, at this point, roughly 3 weeks.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? See the Cools are here, yeah, it's definitely behind and it's rock. You guys have a lot of rock in your neighborhood like we do across the highway in our neighborhood. So it takes longer to get through rock than it does soil. Anything else on the project? Okay, any questions from the audience? We need you to come up if you have a question. You need to come up and identify yourself again.
Not about there, it was a question about ours, Michelle Parsons from Canterbury. You never said anything about is someone gonna look at the concrete that was poured for the sidewalk?
First thing we need to do is get the shrubbery cut down. Once that's cut down,
But I just want to know.
then we'll come in and start to look at the infrastructure and see what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jim, or I was going to ask, I assume that
Microphone, please.
it's on.
You got to get closer to it then. I wasn't
Okay.
hearing you.
I assume once we get the brush cut and all that Jason will make like an evaluation and probably give us a report.
Mhm.
And then we'll have a way to notify the neighbors that they can see that report and then be able to comment on it.
Sure. And we'll put it back on the Stormwater Authority meeting agenda and then you can come in and we'll talk about it again. Okay. And in the meantime, if you have questions, Garrett's the person to talk to.
And I was a little unclear, was the small basin there like 3 years ago when the project was done? Or was that created at that time?
Both.
A swale, I thought it was, but mhm.
That seems to change the makeup of. But yeah.
I'm sorry, folks. This is being televised and they can't see who's talking or if you need to speak again, we'd like you to come back up to the microphone and make sure that they can hear you and see who's talking.
I'm understanding what you're saying. The basin on the right has changed because where they built a new larger basin or expanded it. they put a mound between the two where they put the runoff, the overrun.
Right.
So when this side fills up, it runs off into the bigger. And I guess that's where they wanted to slow things down for that.
Right, it doesn't
But
necessarily need to
With
fill.
that
it just-
mound, it's changed the makeup of the smaller area. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
obviously the other side too, but not as much because they
I-
expanded that. some.
Yeah, I think that's the area he's going to focus on.
But that has made a difference in drainage in that area, in that small area.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna, Jason's gonna do the evaluation, but we're also gonna have the maintenance plan that we're gonna share with the
Correct.
neighborhood, so you'll know how we're gonna maintain it moving
We're going to
forward.
go over all our stormwater basins and take a look at how often each one should be mowed in order to serve the purpose that they're there to serve. So you'll know what the schedule is then, and I doubt that it'll be every 2 weeks, but we'll see. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Meeting's adjourned.